Buying land and building a home versus buying an existing home. Which one is cheaper? What's going on, guys? My name is Ramon Lomeli, and this is exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So thank you much for joining. Before we get started, though, I do want to remind you that if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this or any other topic relating to the Winston-Salem area, do not hesitate to reach out. That's literally why I make these videos. You can call, text, or email me. My information is on the screen. It's also going to be in the About section of this video. So today we're going to be breaking down this question that I get so often from buyers. Honestly, people of all ages are always asking me this question or a very similar question. What's actually cheaper, buying a house or building? I feel like a lot of people are assuming that building a home is going to be the cheaper option, and honestly it really depends. There's no easy answer, so that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. So if we take a step back and look at the whole picture, the big picture overall, building your own home sounds ideal because, hey, why wouldn't I want to be able to make all the decisions and make it the size I want and the rooms where I want them on the land that I want? But the truth is, it's not always a cheaper option. The average cost to build a home in the US right now is about $506,000, $500,000. The median resale home is around $410,000 in the nation currently. So on average, building a home is going to cost you about $100,000 more, but the differences don't just end there. Obviously, here in the Winston-Salem, Forsyth County area, we're going to be a little bit cheaper under the median home price for both, probably for both building and for resale. The resale, by the way, resale home just means a home that's already been lived in, so it's not a new home. But the average price for a resale home is $360,000. So right from the beginning, you can tell that buying a resale home is gonna be a lot more affordable than a new construction. In 2024, Home Guide reported that the average cost per square foot, not including site cost, was anywhere from $250 to $450 a square foot for a brand new home. So site costs we're gonna get into later in this video, and that's gonna be a massive, that's a big headache, and it's also very expensive. And just for comparison, the average price per square foot in our area was around $215 a square foot for a resale home. And that does include a big average of everything: older homes, newer homes, luxury homes, ugly homes that need work. So that's a rolling average. One of the trickiest parts about obtaining a home, whether it's new construction or resale, is going to be the loan process. And the crazy part is, or the difficult part is, that the processes are actually very different between the two options. For example, when you buy a pre-existing home or a resale home, usually you're going to do FHA or conventional. You're going to put anywhere from 3.5, 5, maybe up to 10% down, maybe even 0 down if you qualify for like a first-time home buyer program or something else that we could talk about down the road. I'll make more videos about that for you. Credit scores, you got to have a 580 or better. 620 plus gives you some better interest rates, some lower down payments. So if the home is already existing, all the lender has to do is verify its value, and they fund it at closing, so it's no problem. That's not the same with a new construction home. When you're buying a custom built home, because there are exceptions when it comes to like new construction through a builder, through a national builder that's building in a neighborhood, but this only applies to custom homes. You'll normally need what's known as a construction to permanent loan. We like to call them construction to perm loans. The down payment on something like this is typically 20 to 25%, depending on your credit and the lender and their requirements and all kinds of other fun stuff. So as you can see right there, 20 to 25%, that knocks out 50, 60, 70% of the people that are looking to build because they don't have that much money. The credit score requirement is also going to be higher. You're typically looking at a 680 to 700 plus. It's a higher risk loan, so banks really want to make sure everything is neat and tidy. The process also plays out in draws, and different lenders have different methods of doing this, but essentially the builder has to be okay with the lender's pay schedule, and that's where I've had some difficulty in the past, especially in the first 5 or 6 years when land was a lot cheaper and more people were building homes. The builder's like wants half the money up front, and the lender's like, no, you're gonna get a quarter now, or a third now, a third in the middle, and a third at the end. And then certain things have to be completed before the lender will release the money. And so as you can see, the lender, I get it from both sides. The builder needs to pay their guys, pay the material, make sure everything's going on track, and the lender wants to make sure things are getting done on a certain pace. And sometimes there's disagreements, and the loan may not go through, and then it's really not the best situation. So as you can see, lending is going to be completely different whether it's a pre-existing home or a new construction home. And now we're going to talk about some of the hidden costs, and this is probably one of the most important parts of this video. Before we get into that though, I do want to remind you that if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you know the deal. Give me a call. I'm here to help. Number on the screen, that's my personal cell phone number. I'm going to give you some awesome links in the about section so you can see homes that are for sale in the area as well as some land. And of course, my social media links are down there in case you want to see what the life of a person that actually lives in this area is like. I do a lot of food reviews to show you guys the restaurants in the area as well as events in the area, so make sure you check that out. So one of the hidden costs definitely is associated with the land, because when you buy land, you're not just buying the dirt that your home is going to be built on, you also need to factor in what it's going to take to make that dirt livable. And here are some things that I find that people mostly don't think about. Site prep, like clearing trees, grading, that's a big one, as well as drainage. You'd be surprised, we're so hilly here, you'd be surprised how many lots sit empty because you'd think they're a great deal and everyone would want to build there. However, their drainage is not good and the home will be flooded unless you put it like right up on the road, and nobody wants that. Or there's like a back corner where the home might fit, but then you run into setbacks. Another thing that we need to talk about. Also, you got to worry about utilities. We need power. 99% of the people are going to want internet. You're also going to have to worry about whether you're going to have city water or a well and septic or sewer. Now there's pros and cons versus, well water and septic tank versus city water, public water, and a sewer, which we can talk about in another video. You can just call me directly, I'll tell you all about it. But neither are cheap and both are gonna cost you a lot of money. And then this happens quite often, unfortunately, and be careful if you're buying land directly from a for sale by owner, because this happens a lot. There's a lot of land out there that because of the type of soil it has, it will not perk for a septic tank, which means essentially that it's unbuildable in this area. That is to say, unless you can connect it to city water, city sewer, but that's not always the case, so you really gotta have someone that knows the area. Also, one thing that's surprisingly expensive when it comes to building a home is a driveway, whether it's gravel or cement. I mean, if you're buying a big piece of land and you want your house set back into the woods a little bit, I mean, that's gonna be 300, 400, 500 feet of driveway. That's not cheap. So as you can see, the site costs really do add up. So sometimes you see sometimes you see 5 acres for like $10,000 and you're like, oh my gosh, I hit the jackpot. I'm gonna start my family compound or my mini farm over there. But then you come to find out that it's got power lines going through it, the property doesn't drain, you can't put a septic tank, the city water is not available to go through there. So essentially buying a piece of land to just own it in hopes that something changes in the future, or maybe in hopes that maybe it's farming land, maybe it's people even buy hunting land around here, which is something that I learned when I first moved to the area. People buy land just to hunt on, or fishing land. But yeah, there's all kinds of reasons why some land has been sitting on the market for a very long time. So if you compare that to buying a resale home, this process is just hands down better if you're gonna buy a resale home, because you don't have to worry about essentially any of that. The land is ready to go, no hidden fees when it comes to prepping the land. Typically we're closing in 30 days, 45 days, worst case 60 days in case there's some setbacks. And you can usually negotiate on an existing home, especially right now with what's going on in the market, as opposed to a home that you're gonna be building. Well, they're gonna set the price and they're not gonna wanna drop it. But honestly, the overall stress of not having to worry about the builder, arguing with the lender, or something got delayed and your move-in date is getting pushed out further out, or something turned out to be more expensive, because one of those things with the well and septic tank that I've run into quite a few times is they tell you that it's gonna be $8,000 for $4,000 for a well, and then they dig to the approximate depth and then they find out there's no water there, so they got to go deeper, which is costing you more money. You end up with double the price. Septic tank, sometimes it's easy to lay it out and perfect and you know where you're going to want it, but then they run into a boulder and then you either have to move the rock, break the rock, or pick another place for the septic tank, which means you have to redraw the lines. It can become a real nightmare. So when does building actually make sense though? A lot of times I find that a lot of people that like to build it's a very select group of people. It's basically if they have family land, if you already own land, or maybe a lot of what young people are doing nowadays is they're buying land now and paying it off and then not building on it until way down the road whenever they actually need it. So if you already own land, that would be a great idea to build, because half the cost, or not half, but a big chunk of the cost are already going to be not needed to be worried about. Or if you got the land at a super cheap deal, or you got an inheritance from grandma and they left you some land, in those scenarios I think building is almost a no-brainer. Also, if you're 100% set sure that you know specifically what kind of home you want and where you want it, how much land you want, or maybe you want like a specialty type home, like a tiny home or a barn dominium, something like that, your best bet is probably going to be to build a home. Or when resale inventory is tight and overpriced. Now, I will say that even if it is tight and overpriced right now, building a home is going to take you 8, 9, 10, 12 months, if not longer. So you kind of have to balance whether you want to wait it out and see what happens, or if you want to go ahead and build. And when does buying a resale or pre-existing home make sense? And this is probably going to be most of you guys, but when you're on a tight timeline, because building, like I said, it takes a while. When you want a predictable price and process with little to no surprises. I won't say no surprises because almost every transaction has at least one surprise, but no matter if it's resale or existing home. But I will say that that usually is a lot more mitigated, a lot more controlled when it comes to a resale home versus building a new construction home. Buying a resale home also makes sense when you want to be in a certain school district or neighborhood and there's just limited land there, so it makes more sense to buy a pre-existing home. If you don't want the stress of managing a construction company and lender and all the different requirements that go along with building. Also, if you're tight on budget or if you want to pay as little money down up front, those are also reasons why you'd want to stick with the resale home. There is, however, a happy medium, and I'm going to tell you about that right after I plug myself one more time, last time for the video. I just want to make sure you guys are aware that I'm really here trying to help you guys. I make these videos for you. So of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, hey, the reason I make these videos is for you. Call me, text me, email me, let me know how I can help, if at all. If you want a list of homes or land, shoot me a text and just send me your email. I'll have that right over. Also, briefly, I'll mention this. I've had a couple of you guys actually like show up to the area and let me know last minute that you're going to be in the area, and then have to scramble to make time for you. So please, if you are coming to the area, let me know ahead of time so I can plan it, book it on my calendar, and make sure that nothing else gets in front of you, so that we can, spend some one-on-one time if you're going to be looking at homes in the area. So the best of both worlds is going to be new construction homes through a builder. And there is a negative connotation. A lot of people call those like cookie cutter homes or things of that nature, but that's honestly the best case of both worlds. A lot of times these are going to be semi-custom builders, so your neighbor is not going to look exactly like you. There might be a house on the other side of the neighborhood that looks very similar, but your next door neighbor is not going to be the same. You're going to get modern finishes, energy efficiency, which is important, and a lot of times, I don't want to just say this and kind of gloss over it. Builder incentives. Right now, I just got an email. One of the builders in the area is offering a 3.99% fixed interest rate if you buy within a certain time frame. These builders are being affected by the slow market right now, the housing market, and they're trying to get rid of these homes. And because a lot of times they have either some kind of a deal with the lender or they own the lender, they're able to afford to give you a way better interest rate that's fixed than any other lender out there. Predictable timelines, and I'll say that almost is the case except for during COVID. It was insane. Almost nothing was actually on time. They also have built-in warranties, which is really important. I will say though, a lot of people are automatically going to say no because either I don't like cookie cutter homes, and I get that, but honestly at 3.99% interest rate, I'll live in a cookie cutter home for 5 years, build up the equity in that, sell that one or rent it and use that money to buy the next house. Just an idea, maybe that's your site cost right there, the appreciation. Or they won't like it because most of these, 99% of these are gonna have HOAs. So let me know in the comment section below, are you more of a resale home kind of guy, or are you or gal, sorry, or are you a kind of build your own home kind of person? And I can see both angles, honestly. It just depends on where you're at in life, what your goals are, and if you have the money for it, and if you have the stomach and the amount of time that you're gonna have to wait for it. Because building a home is just something that not every American, every person is gonna be able to do in their lifetime, but the ones that do are very, very lucky, whether that's a neighborhood home or a fully custom built home on 45 acres. Whichever the case may be for you, just make sure you use me. Man, that was a shameless plug. Just make sure you call me and I'll take care of all your needs. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Go check out some more of my videos and I'll see you guys next week.